Have you ever wondered why some people seem unstoppable while others struggle to keep up? The truth is, the greatest battle you'll ever face isn't against anyone else. It's you versus you. Today, we're going to uncover how focusing on yourself, mastering your habits, and embracing your purpose can transform your life faster than anything else. This isn't about competition, comparison, or shortcuts. It's about discipline, self-leadership, and unlocking the potential that's already inside you. Most people spend their lives fighting battles they were never assigned to fight. They argue with people, blame systems, resent circumstances, and accuse environments, not realizing that the greatest opposition they will ever face is not external. The real conflict is internal. The undisciplined version of yourself is more dangerous than any enemy you can name. You can escape people, you can change locations, you can switch careers, but you cannot outrun yourself. Wherever you go, your habits follow you, your mindset follows you, your character shows up before you speak. The undisciplined self is subtle. It doesn't attack you loudly. It whispers excuses. It negotiates delay. It convinces you that tomorrow is safer than today, that potential is enough without execution, that intention equals progress. This version of you is satisfied with knowing instead of doing, dreaming instead of building, planning instead of committing. It thrives on comfort and resists pressure, yet pressure is the environment where growth is produced. Until discipline becomes stronger than desire, you will keep repeating cycles while calling them seasons. Self-discipline is not punishment. It is alignment. It is the ability to command yourself instead of being ruled by moods, impulses, and distractions. When you lack discipline, talent becomes a liability. Intelligence becomes frustration. Opportunity becomes overwhelming. Many people don't fail because they lack ability. They fail because they lack self-management. You don't rise to the level of your gifts. You fall to the level of your discipline. The version of you that avoids structure, accountability, and consistency will always sabotage the future you claim to want. Life was never designed to be a competition with other people. Comparison is a distraction that steals focus from responsibility. You were not created to outrun someone else's timeline or duplicate someone else's results. You were created to carry an assignment, and assignments demand stewardship. When you compete with people, you shift your energy from development to validation. You begin to measure progress by applause instead of alignment. Purpose does not require an audience. It requires obedience. Responsibility is the price of significance. Life does not reward ambition. It rewards alignment with principle. You can desire success passionately and still fail consistently if you ignore the laws that govern growth. Responsibility means owning your decisions, your habits, your preparation, and your response to pressure. It means refusing to blame what you can change. The moment you accept responsibility for your life, you regain authority over it. Every individual is entrusted with time, ability, and opportunity in different measures. Equality was never the goal. Faithfulness was. You are not accountable for what someone else received, but you are fully accountable for what you received. When you abandon comparison, clarity replaces confusion. You stop asking why others are ahead and start asking whether you are maximizing what is in your hands. Focus sharpens when distraction is removed. Your assignment does not compete with another person's assignment. It complements the larger purpose. When you chase someone else's path, you abandon your own development. Identity confusion produces frustration because you are trying to function outside your design. Design determines function, and function determines fulfillment. You cannot be fulfilled doing what you were not designed to do, no matter how successful it looks on someone else. Life demands self-leadership before it grants influence. If you cannot govern your time, emotions, and habits, you are not prepared to manage opportunities, resources, or people. Responsibility begins privately, long before it is visible publicly. The person you are becoming is shaped by the decisions you make when no one is watching. Progress is rarely dramatic. It is usually the result of quiet, repeated discipline. When you understand that life is an assignment, excuses lose their power. Complaints fade. Focus intensifies. You stop waiting to feel ready and start doing what is required. The disciplined self is not motivated by emotion, but anchored in commitment. It understands that consistency outperforms intensity and that obedience precedes reward. Purpose unfolds when you stop fighting others and start mastering yourself. Comparison is one of the most subtle and destructive distractions in human development. It quietly shifts your attention away from purpose and redirects it toward performance. The moment you begin measuring your progress against someone else's journey, you lose sight of your own assignment. Comparison replaces clarity with confusion because it asks the wrong questions. Instead of asking whether you are growing, you start asking whether you are ahead. Instead of asking whether you are aligned, you ask whether you are admired. Purpose does not survive in an atmosphere of constant comparison. Identity weakens when it is borrowed. The more you study what others are doing, the more tempted you become to imitate rather than innovate. Imitation may produce short-term recognition, but it erodes long-term fulfillment. You cannot build a meaningful life trying to live out someone else's design. Every individual is wired with specific strengths, limitations, timing, and responsibility. When you ignore your uniqueness, you misuse your energy. Comparison drains focus because it forces you to chase outcomes without understanding the process behind them. Comparison also creates unnecessary pressure. You rush what should be developed. You despise preparation seasons because they are invisible. You feel behind when you are actually being formed. Growth is not a race, it is a process. When you compare timelines, you disrespect development. Some seasons are for planting, some for pruning, some for waiting. No season is wasted unless you refuse to learn in it. Purpose requires patience because maturity cannot be rushed without consequence. The danger of comparison is that it trains you to value appearance over substance. You begin to prioritize visibility instead of stability. You chase platforms before character, titles before competence, recognition before readiness. When identity is weak, applause becomes addictive. The need to be seen replaces the discipline to be prepared. Purpose demands depth, and depth is formed in obscurity, pressure, and repetition, not in attention. Potential without discipline is one of the most common causes of frustration. Many people are highly gifted but poorly managed. Talent creates opportunity, but discipline sustains it. Without discipline, potential becomes a source of regret because you are aware of what you could do but never consistent enough to do it. Discipline is the bridge between ability and achievement. It converts capacity into results and vision into reality. Discipline is not about restriction. It is about direction. It is the ability to tell yourself no so that your future can say yes. It is choosing structure over chaos, consistency over convenience, and long-term reward over short-term comfort. You cannot grow beyond the level of discipline you are willing to maintain. Inspiration may start a journey, but discipline finishes it. Consistency is the language discipline speaks. Occasional effort produces occasional results. Repeated actions shape identity. What you practice daily eventually becomes who you are. Small disciplines maintained over time produce massive outcomes. Most people overestimate what they can do in a short time and underestimate what discipline can produce over a long time. Success is rarely the result of one dramatic moment. It is the accumulation of quiet, faithful decisions. Action is the final proof of belief. You can claim vision, faith, and ambition, but without action, they remain ideas, not realities. Action exposes priorities. It reveals what you truly value, not what you say you value. Discipline turns intention into movement. It demands that you act even when motivation is absent. Those who rely on motivation remain inconsistent because motivation is emotional and emotions are unstable. Purpose does not respond to talent alone. It responds to order, obedience, and alignment. Discipline creates order in your thinking, your time, and your habits. When order is present, progress becomes inevitable. When order is absent, chaos delays destiny. You do not drift into excellence, you discipline your way there. Potential opens the door, but discipline determines how far you go once it opens. Growth requires self-leadership before it produces external success. Too many people expect results without first developing the inner authority to manage themselves. They desire influence, impact, and recognition, but fail to govern their own habits, thoughts, and decisions. Self-leadership is the ability to say yes to what is necessary and no to what is convenient. It is taking responsibility for your time, your actions, and your responses, even when circumstances are difficult or uncomfortable. Without this internal mastery, external accomplishments are shallow and unsustainable. Influence follows those who can govern themselves. Opportunity rewards those who are prepared to steward it effectively. The journey of growth is never linear. It requires discipline, patience, and intentionality. People often misunderstand growth as a series of external milestones. Yet true growth begins internally. It starts with clarity of purpose, self-awareness, and consistent effort to improve. You must confront weaknesses and refine strengths simultaneously. Ignoring internal development leads to frustration because external success will always demand more than raw talent can provide. Leadership over self builds resilience, focus, and perseverance, qualities that external circumstances cannot create for you. Every great achievement begins with the person you become in private. Responsibility begins with acceptance. To be responsible means to acknowledge that your life is the product of your decisions, not your excuses. It is tempting to blame circumstances, people, or lack of resources, but these are distractions from the true work. Responsibility calls for accountability and self-examination. It forces you to confront habits that hinder growth and adopt disciplines that promote it. The person who embraces responsibility sees challenges as opportunities to refine character rather than obstacles to success. Responsibility is a daily practice, not a philosophical idea. It is the constant application of principles that govern achievement. Mastering yourself is the foundation of lasting impact and fulfillment. External success can be seductive, but without internal control, it often leads to chaos and disappointment. Influence, wealth, and recognition are tools, not destinations. They require a grounded, disciplined individual to wield them effectively. Self-mastery ensures that your decisions align with purpose and that your actions produce meaningful results. It protects against impulsive choices, emotional reactions, and the temptations that can derail potential. Those who fail to master themselves may achieve for a season, but their accomplishments rarely leave a lasting legacy. Self-mastery demands consistent vigilance. You must monitor your thoughts, regulate your emotions, and control your impulses. You must prioritize what matters most and reject distractions relentlessly. Habits, routines, and disciplines are not optional. They are the instruments through which mastery is achieved. Without them, potential remains unrealized and effort becomes wasted energy. Consistency in small, purposeful actions produces significant transformation over time. Mastery is less about extraordinary moments and more about the faithful execution of ordinary responsibilities with extraordinary intentionality. The individual who embraces self-leadership and responsibility becomes unstoppable. Their focus is sharp, their purpose unwavering, and their actions deliberate. They are not swayed by comparison, opinion, or temporary setbacks because their authority over self anchors them in principle. Growth accelerates when internal order precedes external opportunity. Success does not arrive by chance. It comes to those who can manage themselves effectively before attempting to manage anything else. Every external victory is preceded by internal conquest, and the ability to lead oneself is the gateway to lasting achievement. Mastery over self is also the path to fulfillment. When you align your actions with your design, your strengths with your calling, and your discipline with your vision, satisfaction follows naturally. You no longer live for recognition or validation. You live in obedience to purpose. Fulfillment is not found in accolades or applause. It is found in the disciplined execution of your assignment, the intentional use of your gifts, and the responsible stewardship of your opportunities. Those who master themselves operate from a place of power, not pressure, from influence, not intimidation, and from purpose, not panic. The war is always internal before it becomes external. Those who fail to conquer their own habits, impulses, and distractions struggle to navigate life effectively. Conversely, those who develop self-leadership and embrace responsibility find that challenges become stepping stones, setbacks become lessons, and pressure becomes preparation. The measure of growth is not in circumstance, but in character. The person who masters themselves carries a power that no external force can remove, a resilience that no obstacle can diminish, and a focus that no distraction can derail. Self-leadership and responsibility are the foundations upon which true success, impact, and fulfillment are built. Remember, the war is internal before it's external. Stop comparing, stop blaming, and stop running from yourself. Focus on your growth, discipline your habits, embrace responsibility, and lead yourself with purpose. Every choice you make today shapes the person you become tomorrow. The moment you win the battle with yourself, everything else falls into place. Take control, stay consistent, and rise to the person you were designed to be.